Well, thank you very much for doing the interview.
Yeah, no problem.
It's great to see you guys out again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
2 years maybe?
I guess so. The dancing tour, still back. Or
Absolutely. Well, it's nice that you guys brought Blood Red Throne out with you. That's pretty cool.
yeah, and Enslaved as well.
Of course, of
It's gonna
course.
be, we were thinking about nice Norwegian exotic package.
And that it was. That it definitely was. Well, it's kind of interesting because, Abrahadabra is like, kind of almost like Disney for the devil. It's really kind of cool, actually.
All right. Well, I never heard that before.
Well, that's my own. That's my own. But basically, did you guys kind of think, well, let's go big or go home after, like, the dismissal of Christie's and Simon?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it wasn't such a huge change for us because writing-wise, it's been the three of us that have done most of the material anyway. So the transition wasn't that much big of a deal. But of course, it sucks when you have to change members, but it's the band curse, I suppose. So you have the choice of lay back or take the bull by the horns and move forward. So we did that right away, and
But you definitely did the latter.
yes, for sure. I hope so.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask how you guys were going to kind of incorporate, with Simon being gone, as far as like clean vocals. But it actually works out very well with Stian being able to, kind of sing.
Well, Stian has experimented quite a lot on the album with his voice. And that really gives a new dimension, I suppose. And the same live as well. And of course, there's no secret that we have backing tracks on some songs. That's you either do that or you don't do it at all because we cannot bring an orchestra out or a choir. So, but it works well, and I think also maybe from a fan perspective that the clean vocals have been maybe hyped a little bit because we in the band has never really looked at it the same way as the fans, which is understandable because we think about the music and what we do, and we cannot really look at things objectively. So it's different from the fans' point of view.
It makes sense, though. It definitely makes sense. So, I guess, is it hard to have, I guess, you guys have so many side projects going on. And then you have kind of like the whole of Hell thing, which is kind of interesting that, Stian has actually been experimenting with his vocals because it's almost kind of like of Hell-esque as far as his vocal style on the new album. So, is that something that he kind of wanted to do, or is it kind of like, I guess, natural progression?
I think it's just him wanting to do something more. He has a really distinct voice, and he doesn't want to limit himself to just one type. So I guess when you get older, you want to
just go buck wild and just do it all. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, with approaching the album and the making of this album, did you kind of, I guess, hope that people would be able to, because you're not able to kind of take this album in like one sitting. You have to like kind of like, do it in increments. So was that kind of what you were kind of hoping to do, or did it just kind of
that just came out like that?
Okay.
We never have a formula when we write music. It's just keep whatever we think sounds cool and skip the rest. And, of course, we knew kind of early on doing the demos that it was going to end up sounding really huge and big, But other than that, it's different. We can pull any song out of the album and we'll recognize it as different. So I think that's the strength as well.
So was it, I guess, kind of your design to, do the whole speaker thing and then actually, because it's a completely different experience from speakers to headphones, to
that's
like
for
a smaller...
sure, especially on this album,
Yeah.
you can really tell. And
it's because of like the orchestration or like,
well, the orchestration and the real choirs really gives it a whole new level of dynamics, I think. And, it's, uh, it's an album that's more detailed. We worked hard on the details, on the arrangements. So I think, yeah, it needs more than 2 or 3 spins, that's for sure.
Definitely. So you guys hadn't worked with Andy Sneap before prior to this,
No.
right? Okay, so how is it that I guess he had added to what you guys had done?
He did the mixing. We did the mixing with Andy, so he has been part of the recording process. But we wanted something fresh, you know. That's why we recorded the guitars in one studio, drums in another, vocals in another. The orchestra and choirs were recorded at the radio station. So we took all that to Andy and put it together there, which is quite a challenge, you know, because we don't have a reference for such a project like this. So, but we did the best out of it.
Okay. How did he get the nod, or were there others that you had kind
Well,
of?
he was into doing it, and I think he was also up for a new challenge. And,
challenge it was.
yeah, for sure, and that's the same with us too. You know, we have never worked with him, and we didn't really know him that well from before, apart from partying together and stuff like that. But he really added his touch to the mix. You know, and there are so many layers and levels that needs to be adjusted in such a mixing process.
And I guess it would kind of be easy to, I guess, kind of like over digitalize it.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to do from the beginning of the recording process. Is that we wanted to approach it like as an analog recording. Although that's kind of difficult when you do everything digitally, but we wanted a natural sounding drum sound.
With some grit.
Yeah, of course, but it's really difficult because when you have so many different tracks in one song, it's you have to compromise somewhere. You know, so then the question is, why do you do that?
Well, at least there wasn't, too much compromise. At least I guess from a fan standpoint,
Well, I think it's also a challenge for the fan to listen to it. I still think that there are fans out there that want to hear Darkness Reborn from #2 and whatever, which is, I understand it as a fan myself, but as a musician and artist, we naturally develop.
Or at least you should.
Yeah, well, some bands they do it well without developing too much, like AC/DC and stuff like that. But,
Well, I guess that's debatable. Whether or not you want to stay that way.
Right.
Now I love your anthem of Dimmu Borgir. That's awesome. Very awesome song. So did you kind of like, I guess, set out to try to have an anthem for this album, or?
Well, actually, during the demo stages, we nicknamed it Anthem. But that also, of course, remains to be seen if it's going to be done as an anthem or not, because that's up to the fans basically. Besides that.
Absolutely.
But for us, it has that type of feeling to it. And, it's a mix of what we're known for. You have the big, epic, majestic first half, and then the second is more like the basic, brutal, and it kind of sums up musically what we have done over the years. So,
and what you guys have become as well.
right.
Absolutely. Now, I guess, going back to the whole drum sound, it's actually kind of nice to hear the drums, on the record, as opposed to, having to see your live shows. So it's actually like represented on a record. So why is it that, I guess, that it's taken you guys so long to be able to, I guess, have that drum sound become so natural?
I don't know, it's a matter of taste, I suppose. And, I think with Daraya doing the drums, he's also into what we have wanted for many years too. So that of course helps. We're on the same level.
Absolutely. So do you have a favorite song that you like to perform right now?
Well, I think it varies from day to day. Tonight it was probably a dual trace through Noel with which went over pretty good, and tomorrow it could be a different song.
Okay, all right. Were there any songs that were kind of like your problem child?
Yeah, I think the last one on the album, which was probably the first one we started working on, and that has happened in the past as well. Where you start out with the first song and you really don't know the direction, and then you put it away for a few months and pick up on it, and then that's when it happens. So.
Okay. Um, and also, as far as the album cover is concerned, it's pretty cool that you're able to kind of have, I guess, like different facets. There's like the skull for one, and I guess it's like for your limited edition then, as far as that particular cover, and then there's like just the regular one.
And we have the ammo box, which is very cool. Yeah, I mean, in this time of day, it's important to have a variety for the fans, because they still buy our albums, so that's how we survive, basically.
So is this like a kind of a growing trend that you have to, I guess, kind of have like, different facets or like, different offerings, for different, I guess, demographics, who will like be able to, pay for whatever.
Right, and we have a really great picture disc vinyl.
Which is always nice for old school.
It is, and I think vinyl is coming a little bit back,
Which is awesome.
Which is very awesome.
It's very awesome. Well, in regard to, I guess, like speaking of extras, you guys have some really cool covers. Yeah, you have Perfect Strangers and you have Dead Men Don't Rape. So, what made you, I guess, decide to tackle those two songs particularly?
Maybe to show our influences. We have the Purple on one side and GG on the other one, so it's completely different. And just to show that we come from a background where we listen to a lot of types of music. Yeah, it's nothing really more dramatic than that.
Okay. Well, it's actually would be kind of nice for your fans to, I guess, kind of listen to your take on it and be able to listen to the actual originals.
Right, which is the whole point about doing a cover. Sometimes it's cool to stay close to the original. Other times it's cool to experiment, which we did with GGFH.
Definitely. And also with Perfect Strangers too.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. We added some Dimmu touch too.
Very much so. Very much so. So the video for Gateways.
That's right.
It's very, I guess, spellbinding, one could say. So I guess my thing is, you kind of never would associate white being a color for, like I guess for black people. So why did you choose that? Let's start there.
Well, we just wanted to do something completely different. Out of the box, totally unexpected, even for ourselves at the beginning. And it hasn't really been done before, at least in the genre that we've associated with. So, it's just we've always been into the visual part of the band, and we did that with supporting to try and develop that as well. So, kind of symbolizes a new start, maybe.
Okay. All right. So I guess as far as the chick in the bathtub, so what is she supposed to represent? Because I mean, I guess you can kind of assume Agnetha's, role.
Right. I mean,
Black
lyrically, the song deals with karma and rebirth and opening up your mind and senses to what really matters, So it can be looked at in different ways, I suppose, but that's the main idea I have.
Okay. And I guess Gateways is a brilliant way for you guys to kind of open the door. No pun intended. To all of your fans, especially considering that I guess Darkness has been reborn through all of this. So
that's what we feel. Yeah, it's like every new album is somewhat of a new start, but this one in particular, we feel this is really more than the regular.
So what's going to be your next single? Or have you kind of decided that yet?
We have decided, and we have a video for it as well.
Oh,
So hopefully it'll be out soon, maybe before the holidays.
which song?
We'll wait.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess. All right. That's fine. So, what does the future hold now that you guys have, this wonderful resurgence of Darkness?
Well, obviously a lot of touring, and we're going to go places where we haven't been yet, such as Australia, New Zealand. Most definitely will come back to the States. And of course, some festivals next summer, and yeah, and some shows here and there. So it'll be a lot of stuff.
Okay. Do you have any special messages for your fans?
Not really. We're just really grateful for how they have received the album. And, it's also good to see that they are kind of following us in the way that we evolve as well.
Which is always a beautiful thing.
It is. You're welcome.